ask things, but by doing that, it's still recording me. Okay, now it says meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. So how many, raise of hands, or if you're not on camera, how many of you have, see, that's what throws me.
What if I were to tell you that the purpose of our highest potential is to
so how many, raise of hands, wait, don't, no audio. Okay. See, I just have to do it without audio. Raise of hands, how many of you found me on YouTube as your original? Okay, quite a few of you. So usually YouTube or Insight Timer are the two places that a lot of you have your first introduction to me. And so if you're just now live joining me on YouTube, we are here today. We're doing the opening ceremony for the Alchemist, the west direction of the medicine wheel. And every turn of the direction, every turn of the season, we do a live opening ceremony where we close out the previous direction, which in this case is the south direction, and we open up the energy for the next direction, which is the Alchemist or the west direction. I'm sorting my words here. And it's a great time to kind of acknowledge that threshold that we are crossing over. And thresholds are very significant in the shamanic path, where it's a place where it's liminal, meaning that it's the veil is thin, and we can really kind of access and do a lot of work in that thin space. And so today we're doing a meditation, and I'm bringing into the meditation a lot of the elements of the west direction. So we've got soul recovery, we've got shadow work, we've got some ancestor stuff in there, working with your guides, some manifestation. If you received the notification prior to the meditation, I asked you to have a candle on hand. And so if you don't have a candle, go grab one now. And we're going to work with that candle later in the meditation. Let me just make sure here. Okay. Bob's on YouTube, and he found me via YouTube. Great. All right, and so I have to admit, this meditation, I actually recorded it yesterday, and I started 2 days ago. And I had kind of like this idea in my head for the meditation. This is how I do meditations. I think about an idea or a concept, and then I just kind of sit with it for however long. And then I sit down and boom, do it. This meditation was going to be a little bit different, because I was going to add in the different elements of video. And I have not done that before, where I've done a meditation solely to video. And so I kind of was grappling with, well, do I do the video first and then the meditation, or do I do the meditation first and do I do the video? And it just kind of came to me to just go ahead and do the meditation as I always do, and then add the video to it later. And so I finished last night at 1 a.m. Oh, no, wait, I lied to you. I finished Friday night at 1 a.m. because I wanted to go see my mom on Saturday, and so that was my carrot. I had to finish my video in order to go see my mom. And so I finished it at 1 a.m. on Friday night with the last clip of the video. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share the screen with you and take you through this meditation. I think it's actually a really good meditation, but I'll let you guys be the judge of that. And how many people do we have on here? Because it's saying, all right, we got 20. Let me do a little admin stuff here for a second. Sherry, there's some people on YouTube saying they can't get into Zoom. Oh, it's Betty. They should be able to, because we oversold, you know how planes oversell their seats? We oversold our seats in the meditation, but you should still be able to get in. There's still room. So Betty, if you can see this, actually anybody who is on YouTube who can't get into the link, Sherry will share the link of the meeting in YouTube, and you can try to get in that way. And I'm going to ask everybody to go off camera here in just a second when I start sharing the screen. And a few other housekeeping things before we start. The mentorship enrollment is open for just 2 more days. That's it. And then we close the doors until the next session, which is in December. Actually, we won't open that one until after Christmas. So if you are wanting to get into the mentorship, which I highly recommend because I think it's a tremendous program, you can go to the website. Sherry will post it on, I'm keeping Sherry busy. She's going to post it on Zoom and also on YouTube. And also for those of you who are in the mentorship, the book is out and it is got some good stuff in here. Oh, you got it. You got how many copies? Oh, you got the journals. Okay, yeah, this time I did some blank journals in conjunction with the workshop or with the workbook. So every session I do a workbook and it's got, oh, Linda, you got to get the new one. That's the old one. You got to get the new one. The new one is much, much different. And from what I'm hearing, it's everybody's new favorite. So I think I'm going to have to mimic this one and do it again. Sherry?
Hey, Dakota. Some of the folks on YouTube are saying that the Zoom link is saying the host will let you in soon.
Oh, I didn't know I had to do that. Tell me. Okay. Wait, admit all. There we go. Look at that. The room just got bigger. And Sandra, I hope you are able to hear us yet. Okay. I got to keep an eye on that. There is a little button up there that says admit all. I don't usually do the, oh wait, 2 more people. Okay. Can't I just like have it automatically admit people? Technology is wonderful until it makes you work really hard to do things that you don't really want to have to do. Okay, so anyway, the workbook is out, and it also has, there's 3 different types of blank journals that you can, some people write a lot and they need extra room. I only give like a couple of pages of blank pages per week. And then also we've got this meditation we're about to do today is on the website for sale. It will be for sale for 1 day only. We're going to knock off, I think, like 25% off of it. But if you're here and you don't want to do it again, then you don't need to even worry about that. And then again, the mentorship closes in 2 days. And we already we're getting a full house in the mentorship, which is awesome. We also offered a different offering this time that we've not done before, and that is where you can now enroll in the mentorship minus the live calls and the coaching and all that I do with the group, and you can do a solo track, and we've got that down to a really small price point for people who want to join, but can do away with having the live calls and stuff. Okay, so any questions before I start the meditation? Okay. Anything on YouTube that I need to be worried about? Oh, wait, 3 people are waiting. All right, let them in. Okay, so we will, I'll keep an eye on that and order people in as needed. Now, let me make sure I have all my ducks in place. The meditation is about 34 minutes. And like I said, if you have a candle, that would be great. Also, be thinking a little bit about the intentions that you have for the West direction. And let me just talk really quickly about the West direction before we start the meditation. When we go into the West direction, we're working with the physical body and the physical world around us. So it becomes about the environment, Mother Earth, the sacred space that you live in, the body that you keep, that you have been incarnated into in this lifetime. It's also about forgiveness and gratitude and boundaries and working with our ancestors. When we get closer to Samhain, which is October 31st, November 1st, November 2nd, the veil becomes very, very, very thin between the 2 worlds, and it makes an excellent time for us to work with people on the other side who have passed on, whether it be our ancestors or our spirit guides. It's a very tangible experience. And so in the first couple of weeks of the mentorship, what we work on mostly those first 2 weeks are boundaries and protection, and how to really kind of bring in the sacred space that's around us in our bubble. Because when the veil becomes thin, it is a two-way street. It's also very easy for energies to come into this world and to affect us. And for those of us who are empaths or highly sensitive people who are intuitive and really on the spiritual journey, we're like open gates for these energies to come forward. And so we want to have those protection layers up, not just for that time, but also for any time. Like when you walk into a room and you suddenly get doused with someone else's energy, you want to be able to know how to handle that. And so in the West direction, those first 2 weeks are spent just on boundaries and protection. And then we kind of move more into manifestation and abundance, which is a big part of the West. You think about when we come to the West direction, we are looking back on our life in reflection mode and saying, okay, this is what this external world that I'm in is a manifestation of what I have planted and nurtured in my life. And so if you have a toxic relationship, or you're full of fear, or you haven't really grasped your sacred purpose, all these things, they impede on you living a fully authentic life, but they're also because you have planted and nurtured these seeds throughout your life. And so in the West, we look at that and we say, okay, this is what I want to keep, this is what I want to change and transform, and this is what I want to lose and get rid of. And so we figure that all out in the West direction, so that when we go up into the North direction, when we work really inward and work with our guides, we take that information with us and we say, okay, this is what I've learned in the West, and this is where I need to look at and harvest differently the next time West comes around. And you start working with your guides with that information. So we also work with our ancestors, our ancestral line. We do a lot of healing work with our ancestral lineage, because that is a very, very powerful way of quickly changing things in your timeline, in your lifeline, even in your family dynamics. It can change a lot of things. We also work with, let me look at my little, actually, you know what, this workbook I made into 13 weeks instead of the 9 weeks that were in the mentorship, because in truth, it works, it's from today until December 21st is when we're in the West direction. So we also work with abundance. Oh, and the creating the space. We do create your sacred space. We're going to bring in a lot of witchery stuff this time, which is going to be really fun. Betty is in the certification program of the mentorship. Betty's been with us for almost 3 years now in the mentorship, and so she's taken on. She and I share a channel where it's called the Witch Brew channel, and she shares her little tidbits of witchery knowledge, and I've actually added a couple of them in here, and she's really rocking that. She's going to love this next direction. She's probably going to be a big part of the Alchemist. In fact, I've asked her to sit with the idea, and Betty, I'm putting you on the spot here, to actually at the end of each live call that we do every week, she's going to come up with some kind of witch brew to offer us that will enhance that that week's subject. So it'll be some fun stuff. All right. So with that, Sherry, is there anything I need to know? Okay. We're going to start this meditation, and I need to share. Let's see here. Give me 1 second here. I gotta move that. I'll tell you, whoever invented 2 monitors for a computer system, fabulous. Okay, now, can everybody see my screen? Okay, what I'm going to ask is for, I don't think I can do this. I probably can. I just don't want to have to figure it out right now. Is everybody go off screen? And That way the focus is on that. Let's see. Okay, and Casey, I see your question on YouTube. We're in the West until December 21st, until we hit the winter solstice. So every change of the season happens with the equinox or the solstice.
I want you to begin today by pulling your energy back into your core. All those strands that you have hanging out in various places, work, the to-do list, the last conversation you had is still lingering in your mind. Wherever you have energy tied up, untie it and pull it back into the center of your core. And I'd like to start today by smudging you, clearing away anything that would keep you from being fully present, anything that would keep you from opening your heart, and anything that would keep you from sharing this space from a soul-centered space. And imagine yourself bringing the smoke of the sage over your body, over your etheric body. You can smell it. You can feel it in the air. And then bring yourself into this circle, this global community of soul-minded people who have gathered here to acknowledge and honor the changing of the season, this equinox. I want to also honor you by acknowledging your presence and thanking you for being here right now in this moment today. And now get in touch with your breath, taking in a deep breath from the bottom of your belly and lingering for just a moment before you exhale. And then exhaling fully. Breathing in all that is good and infusing that breath with your love, and then exhaling your love into the world around you, into this gathering of people. Long, deep breaths. We begin today by acknowledging the energies of the south direction, giving gratitude for the warm waters that have served us. for the growth, for the discovery and nurturing ourselves, for nurturing our relationships, and for the expression, the creativity. We give thanks. Feel this gratitude in your heart chakra as it expands. Expands and deepens all at the same time. And as we come to the threshold that separates south from west, the threshold that separates the sacred heart warrior and the alchemist from your younger self, eagerly building our lives to match our soul, and to our older self with deeper wisdom and reflective curiosity. From a summer of warm sunshine, playful water, to autumn, a feeling of gratitude and reflection. And imagine now walking through this changing landscape, conscious of the steps you take, feeling the crispness in the air, the crunch of leaves beneath your feet. The earthy smells. And you arrive now at a portal that separates you from this world, from your ordinary world, to the extraordinary world of spirit. And feel your physical body separating now from your etheric body. And as it does, you begin to feel lighter and lighter and lighter, more flexible. That you can transverse space and time easily in your etheric body. And you feel yourself now going through this portal and arriving on the other side. And on the other side, you meet your spirit guides. They're here to welcome you to the west direction, and to bring forth the energies of the alchemist for you. And as you start to feel these energies shift and move and swirl all around you, they lead you first to bear witness to your shadow self. Those parts of you, those parts of your soul that you've tried to run from, hide from, deny or hide from yourself and others. Witness this part of your shadow now, this part of you. Maybe it's your anger, maybe it's your power or joy. What do you deny yourself? Acknowledge this part of you that is no different than your light. Like the equinox, a perfect balance of light and dark. Both needed. Balancing. Harmony. Growth. Be forgiving of yourself and for the times that you've denied your shadow the opportunity to teach or to keep you from being whole. Your spirit guides now guide you to a time in your life where you have left a piece of your soul, a trauma that separated you from you. And bear witness to this event that they show you. What does this part of you need from you to bring this piece back home with you? And if you feel that you can fulfill this need, bring this piece into your heart chakra, welcoming it home. Feel the fullness filling up the space where you were empty. And your guides now take you to a clearing where you find a beautiful, beautiful stone circle. Large monolithic stones to mark the 4 cardinal directions, with the space in the middle representing the heart of the wisdom keeper. And they leave you you first to the east stone where there is an opening. And at the threshold of this opening, there are several white candles. I want you to choose a candle. Feel yourself holding it in your hands. And envision the flame as a magnet, drawing from you all the negativity into the fire where it is consumed and purified. Anything that is not serving you, anything that you no longer need. And entering the circle, you walk consciously to the south direction, to the south standing stone, where you find a cauldron or a bowl of water collected from a recent thunderstorm that has been heated by a fire. And using the steam of this water, I want you to wash your hands, your face, and any other area you feel led to cleanse. Finally, walk to the west stone of this circle, mindful of each and every step. And as you arrive, you are led to witness the moments of your life that have led you to where you are today. The good, the happy, the challenging, the fears. One by one, witness these moments. What have you harvested as a result of these moments, these beliefs? What have you held on to for way too long? What could you embrace more? Imagine now the fullness of life, the harvest that you wish to greet that is yours. Imagine your abundance, your healthy body. Your sacred relationships. Your sacred space. Your sacred path. This is all yours. And standing in front of you now is one of your ancestors who has chosen to be here with you during this west direction, to offer you healing, insight, understanding of your lineage. What can they share with you now? And give gratitude for their presence, for their willingness to be here with you, to help you to heal, to assist you in healing them. I am grateful. And with your hands to your heart chakra, I want you to give gratitude for your harvest. I am grateful. Give gratitude for your growth. I am grateful. Give gratitude for your path. I am grateful. Give gratitude for your ancestors and your guides and all those who have gone before you. I am so grateful. Gratitude for this life that you have been given. I am grateful. And gratitude for the plant, the animal, the mineral kingdom who are here to support your path. I am grateful. Gratitude for this community. I am grateful. And gratitude for the love in your heart. I am grateful. And for this present moment. I am grateful. And feel the energy of gratitude expanding in your heart space. Expanding. Growing. Growing. Amplifying. Amplifying. Imagine now a beautiful, beautiful bonfire brewing at the standing stone of the west direction and built by the flames of gratitude from each of us pouring into it. And as you stand there with your gratitude expanding from your heart space, feel it pouring into this bonfire, adding to, creating from. Expanding with your community. You might even imagine you dancing around the fire with all of your extended family, your community, your tribe. a torch, I want you to gather a flame from this community fire and use it now to light your own candle. If you have a candle, please light it now or imagine yourself lighting it from this torch. Witnessing the flickering flame as it offers its light to you in these coming months of the Alchemist direction. And with your candle, walk now to the center of the circle and place your light in this safekeeping of the Wisdom Keeper. And state your intentions for these coming months of the Alchemist. And exiting the circle now, leave an offering of tobacco at the outside of this beautiful stone circle. A way to say thank you for holding this space. An offering to the spirits. An offering to your soul. And then find your breath once more. Connecting your breath deeply to your etheric body. And feel your etheric body being pulled back into your physical body, into the here and now. And welcome back. Welcome back. And welcome to the west direction of the medicine wheel. Aho, Matakwe Asen.
Let me regroup here. I want to honor anybody who wants to take this energy and go, and welcome in the west direction in your own way. Take that candle that you lit and continue your ceremony, continue your space with that. And then I also want to offer to stay on for anybody who has questions about the medicine wheel or enrollment into the mentorship, any of that. We had some questions earlier that got emailed in, and I answered a few of those on through email that I could, but I was running short on time. So Sherry?
Before people start going, you had mentioned you wanted to do a meditation?
We We just did a meditation.
No, I know, but the you put the link in for the meditation on sale.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So this meditation that we just did, I'm gonna have it up in my soul shop right now. We are going to put it on sale for 25% off through tomorrow, I think it is. It's $5, so it took me hours and hours of work. And hang on one second here. Raven, I got your message. See if that works. Sherry was telling me during the meditation I need to do more of these, the video for those who, and let me explain something about meditation. So often we kind of lump meditation into being something that you have to sit in quiet and stillness and clear your mind and clear and empty and sit in that silence and things like that. And that's great for a visionary soul archetype, but for a sacred heart warrior and even for an alchemist, that type of meditation can drive you insane because you just want to move and you want the visual and to be able to have that interaction. For an alchemist, they want to usually dance or have some kind of breath movement with it. And then for a soul shaman, there's that need to really connect deeply into that soul anchor space. And so this meditation kind of offers a way for all the soul archetypes to meditate and gather kind of that energy from their own space to be able to do that. But I hear too often people saying, oh, I can't meditate. I just can't. I've tried and I've tried and I've tried and I can't meditate. And if you're one of those people, I want to encourage you to take the soul archetype test we have online, find out what your soul archetype is. You get actually a PDF at the end that tells you some of the different meditation types that are good for you. And when you start meditating towards your soul archetype, it will change your entire world. And so for those who have like that active imagination or that need to see, a meditation like what we just did is really helpful because it has that imagery that kind of puts you into that space also. And the beauty of it is if you're a visionary and you don't like the imagery, you just shut your eyes and just listen to the music and to the words. So anyway, that's a little something there. Michelle, I'm glad you were here. Michelle is in Australia, and she always comes in at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning to make a call before she goes to work. So I applaud, and several of you are in other countries that it's nighttime where you are. It's daytime here. So any questions about anything that I can answer? I'm at your disposal for at least a half hour before I have to meet my niece. This is family weekend here at Dakota Walker's house. We're making all the rounds with all of my siblings. Raven.
Yeah, could you just go over a little bit why you got a fire in the West?
I will.
It like a fire station?
Yeah, so a lot of medicine wheels have fire in the south and water in the west, and I'm an anomaly where it's the opposite. And so and I combine a lot of my work with Druidry, Celtic mythicism, and Native Americanism. And so the water element represents emotions. And in the South, we're really cultivating the emotional body. And it's all about relationship and creativity, and there's that flow. And then in the West, we work with alchemy and transformation. It's your harvest. It's also the setting sun. And so for me, the fire energy made more sense in the West because it is conducive to those arenas, but also it's that time of just really, you're putting to death anything that no longer is serving you and rebirthing those areas of your life that you need to or want to. And so fire is a very conducive element for that. And one of the things that I encourage in mentorship is that in traditions, in indigenous cultures, every medicine wheel is different. They're going to have different animals in different directions. It was all dependent on where they were located in the world and what their lives kind of look like. You're not going to find a polar bear in Ireland, for example. And so Irish people are going to have a much different animal portrayal in their medicine wheel than, say, somebody in Siberia or somebody in Alaska. And so because of that, the medicine wheel becomes very traditional to you and to your lineage and to where you are, not just metaphorically in life, but also physically in life. And so I always tell people, make sure that you are creating what feels right to you in your medicine wheel. It doesn't have to, you don't have to follow my paradigm by any means, but that's part of the power that we take back in this work that we do, is being able to say, this is my medicine wheel, and this is where I want this direction to feel like, and I want to work on this in this direction. And it's really a indication of where you are with your soul too. And if you feel like water is in your, I've had some people come into the mentorship and they're like, nope, water is in the West. It always has been, always will be, and that's fine. For me, it made more sense to kind of go around the wheel in that way, where you got the air energy that's kind of cleaning out in the east. You got the water energy that's flowing and cultivating and going deep into the south of that nurturing, and then transforming in the west with the fire energy. And then we dig into the earth on the north direction so that we can travel to the etheric levels and have that anchor that pulls us back when we need to. And that's why I have Mama Bear up in the north direction, because she is the medicine we need to, that tells us it's time to come out of hibernation, it's time to come back. And so she pulls us back into the earthly realm. I hope that answers your question. So Galaxy J3 Orbit says, thank you so much. Could you repeat the things to be pondering or reevaluating for the West? Oh, wait, I just lost it. For example, give 1 or 2 questions to focus on this season. Yeah. So the questions I would ask in the West would be doing an evaluation of your life, looking around at your external world, your job, your relationships, the home that you're living in, your bank account, your everything that you've manifested, and say, is this where I want to be? Do I need to transform? Your outer world is always going to reflect your inner world. And if you are in a disarray, if you're in a job that you hate, or if you're in a toxic relationship, or you walk into your home and it's full of clutter and dirty dishes and TVs blaring, that's all an indication of what's going on internally within you. And you want to sit with that and say, is this really truly reflective of my soul at this time? And is it what I want? And if it's not, then how do I get to that next place? What do I need to rebirth? What do I need to transform? And a lot of times we kind of put ourselves into this, we pigeonhole ourselves into a place where this is where I am and this is how it will always be. I've always been poor. I've always been attracted to the wrong person, or I've always had jobs, just to make ends meet. And I'm here to tell you that that doesn't have to be what it has to be. You can absolutely transform anything in your life to match the soul that you are. We all have that same power and drive. You just have to find that. And sometimes it's about figuring out what is the first step in that. And because a lot of times if we get so overwhelmed with all the directions, this is why we do one direction at a time in the mentorship, is we focus just on this. Because in doing that, you're not overwhelming yourself with everything else that needs to change in your life. And with one small change, you have this ripple effect that happens. And it makes it a lot more manageable. If you just walked into your house and cleaned it physically from head to toe, I guarantee you're gonna free up energy in your heart and in your brain wavelength. Somewhere you will free up energy. Sherry.
There are 2 questions I didn't want you to miss. One was, is the West still the same? This is from Shelley. Is the West still the same in the Southern Hemisphere?
Yeah. Okay, so I go back and forth on this because we have some Australians on the mentorship, and I've offered them to do the East direction, but they want to stay with. They've been in the mentorship for so long, they want to stay in that wheel. No, it's not. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you're entering into your East direction. But here's the caveat to it: is that East and West are both masculine energies, and they balance each other. So whatever direction you're working on, you're going to affect, actually you'll affect all the directions, but you're most directly going to affect your opposite direction. North, South are feminine directions, and they also are conducive to each other. So for those of you who are going into your East direction or spring, you're still going to work on the West direction, where, like if you do your spring cleaning, for example, then you will have you'll have an effect in your East direction for that. East is about job and career, and manifestation is in the West. So they all kind of go hand in hand. We're actually, I don't know if I should announce this now or not, but what the heck. We're going to, not this session, but next session, when we come around to the north direction, we're actually going to offer to open up south and north at the same time, so that those who are in the Southern Hemisphere, if you want to work on your south direction because that's the direction that you're in, then you'll be able to. And you'll still have the option to do the live calls, because in truth, during the live calls, we're workshopping. We do the workshops and coaching in a way that you're bringing in all of the directions simultaneously. What you won't be able to do is to do East and West at any random time. It's always going to be those two directions opened at the same time. Yes.
Okay, the other question was from Christopher, and he wants to know what Aho Mitakuye means. What's the significance of that? What does it mean?
So Aho Mitakuye means to all my relations. It's a Lakota prayer. I actually have a video on YouTube that goes through the entire prayer. It's a very, very beautiful, heartfelt prayer. And it's about acknowledging your connection to all of life. It's a little bit like Namaste times 10. But it really, it recognizes all the different elements that we are connected to in life. The whole prayer itself is just absolutely gorgeous. Any other?
And there's one from Lori. I don't know if you can read that. And
I basically feel that my unseen world is always going on, not just in meditation. At times it's overwhelming. Like I can't turn off all the feelings or visuals that bombard me at times. Yes, I have heard about that, Lori. A lot of people who are empaths and highly intuitive, unless you have boundaries and protection and all these things kind of set in place, you're like an open sponge. There's no end to you, and everything has this way of just coming and coming and coming and coming. And it's great if you are able to use that, but most people can't handle that amount of energy. My guess is that you probably have a hard time being in public or being in big groups, and shopping is probably a challenge for you. And so one of the things that we do in the West direction, again, is talk about and learn how to implement those boundaries and figure out, where do you start and where does somebody else start? Where do you end? Where does somebody else start? And how do you pull that energy back in to your own core and keep it safe? And then you have complete control over that gate of what comes in and what goes out. And then learning how to protect yourself. It's in my mind, it's essential. Boundaries are essential for anybody who is in this genre. And especially these days, because there's so much energy out there, and so much energy that is getting, it's a very tumultuous time right now. And a lot of those of us who are empaths are really feeling that churning of the soul. And in that, if you don't have those boundaries and measures put into place, it leads you to, one, losing your identity, too explosive outbursts that aren't like you, crying episodes, feeling despondent, and things like that. So it can get pretty hairy. You want to make sure that you're protecting yourself and working on your boundaries. I can't stress that enough. And I see it a lot. I see it a ton, actually. Miriam, your ancestor was faceless, but I felt her female there where other, but not connecting. Real freaky. Loved it. Yeah, your ancestors, it's a lot of fun working with your ancestors. And I'll share with you a story that's really kind of cool. See, I have to get this out. So this picture is one of my ancestors. And when I was doing holistic medicine work in Charleston, I had a client who came in, and the work that I was doing, I would work from a book and do muscle testing and test for all these different things. And it would just come to me. Like I would just like automatically test something and it would be right. And so this client, Barbara Ralston, she's a wonderful animal communicator in Charleston. If you ever need an animal communicator, I recommend her. She says, you know, there's a woman who sits in your chair and watches you work, and then she'll come over and she points to things in your book, and then you find it. I said, really? And she goes, yeah, she's been here this whole time. And one day I came in, I had gone down to my parents and I found a bunch of stuff, and I had this picture and I brought it into my office, and she saw it in one of her appointments. She says, oh my God, that's the woman who sits in your chair. I said, that's my great-great-grandmother, Anna Morgan Mason, and she used to live in Charleston, and my guess is that she was a witch doctor. And so our ancestors actually will come through in so many different ways and guide us, and we can have this beautiful healing that can happen with our ancestors. And it's just a beautiful relationship to rekindle and do some deep work. But, you know, once I recognized that she was the one who was helping me, that she was one of my guides, I started doing genealogy on my family and signed up for Ancestry.com, did the DNA, did everything. And I've learned so much from my ancestors that has plugged in all the clues as to why I am the way I am. I come from a long line of druids in Ireland and Scotland. And here's this small white girl who grew up in rural Ohio in a cornfield and had parents who were agnostic. And yet I somehow found my way to this shamanic path, to this druidic path. And I never knew why until I started doing my ancestry and learned who my ancestors were. I was like, whoa, that makes sense now. So in the West, our ancestors come through loud and strong. When you open up that door to them, they will come through, and you can have just this beautiful healing with them. And because we work in a way that time is not linear, and everything that you do now affects everything ahead of you, like what we would call our future life, and everything that we would call our past life. It has a domino effect because time is collapsed. And so if you do some healing work now, all the healing work you're doing on yourself, the healing work you do in the spiritual world, it affects all those generations above and below. And I actually have seen my family change. They don't know this, but the work that I've been doing in my own ancestral healing, I've seen my physical family here change in the way that they think about things. I don't know if there's a direct relationship, but I'd like to think that there was. Sandra is asking, what is the deadline for enrollment for the West direction? At 11:59 Tuesday night, Eastern Standard Time. If you go on the website to the landing page for the mentorship, there's a little timer up top, and it'll tell you exactly how long you have left. And we are really, 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 really strict. Like Sherry and Leanne and I, we stay up until midnight. We have we call it the deadline party. And we have popcorn and usually a glass of wine, and we're sitting there chatting, and we wait until midnight. And as soon as midnight hits, we take everything down. I think a couple of times we've fallen asleep. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and turned everything off. But that happened last time, Sherry. Do you remember that? And we had somebody sign up while I was asleep. They got in while they were under the gun. And the reason we do that is because we have stuff already set up for you to do. And like if you signed up right now, there's already work for you to do. And our first class is this coming Thursday. And so I want to give people time to acclimate, get to know the website, get to know the community, and whatever else that we have going on there, so that you don't feel like you're just being thrown into a fire. Although that could be good. Some people need to be thrown into a fire. Any other questions that I'm missing, Sherry, over on YouTube or? Okay. And yeah, I'm looking at the YouTube thing. I think if you scroll down to the bottom of my channel, you'll find the Aho Mitakuye-Oyasin prayer.
I put a link in there too.
Okay.
Yeah, let them know about your YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, I love that prayer. It's really beautiful. Anything else that I can, Norma?
I just want to tell the people who are on here that are not a part of the mentorship program yet, if you're even thinking about doing it, just jump in with both feet, because there's a reason you're here. You were led here for some reason. You may not know it yet. It may take a while to find it out, but I think you learn so much about yourself.
Yeah.
And you grow and develop and become so much stronger. And everybody on the mentorship is truly like family. So when we get on the calls, and if you can get on the calls live, do it. It's night and day difference than watching recordings. We do become family. We trust each other and love each other. And sometimes in this world, that's all that people have. It's just this kind of relationship, which is sad. But for a lot of people, this is their strongest relationships, or the place where they feel the most loved or the most trusted.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're thinking of it, highly, highly, highly recommend it.
Oh, thank you.
Just do it.
Just do it.
There's also
one other thing. How's your puppy? I have to know.
Oh, she's doing good. Actually, both of them went to the vet, and they both have lost 3 pounds, and they're both doing well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good.
She got retested, no more cancer. Yeah. And that, that's, it's the beautiful thing about this community too, is I love that we all look out for each other too. And there's some big stuff going on right now in everybody's lives. It's just nice to have a safe place to land and say, look, you guys, I'm struggling here. And I've done that too. I lean on the community too. That's, Sherry?
I was going to say, in addition to, for those who don't know about the mentorship, in addition to the Thursday calls that are live like this, and they're done twice a day, there's two times in the day that they're done live. There's the Slack channel, the community channel. So on a constant basis, there are conversations going on over in an app called Slack. And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about the channels, because I think they're very special.
Yeah, I can't keep up with Slack. The conversations on Slack are so robust, I can't keep up with them. We have a living room channel where it's basically a living room where everybody comes in and you just talk about whatever. And then we have the channels that are more specific to the coursework that we're doing. But this next round, we have some really fun ones. We have a Kitchen Witch channel. So if you want to share your favorite recipe or little rituals that you do, what else do we have? We've got, you can ask for journal prompts. We have a candle channel where you can go in and ask for support, whatever you might need. I'm cheating. I'm looking at the thing to see what all we have. Gratitude, so you can have a place to say your daily gratitudes. manifest magic, when you have moments of magic that happen in your life, which I love. I've been, so here's the thing. I've set up all these channels for the West Direction, which we haven't even started yet. But because the community is an ongoing thing, as soon as I started all the channels, everybody started adding to it, which was great. So without even the West having started, we got all this magic happening, and sacred space, self-care, what you're doing. We have a supper club channel where you can take pictures of your meal. We have a big thing where we're trying to get people to actually eat more mindfully and share their place setting and the food that they're putting into their bodies and stuff. And that's been really inspiring. I had some people in the beginning who said, I don't want to do that. I sit there and watch TV while I eat. And now they're starting to post some pictures of their own meals because they got so inspired by everybody else. So that's cool. Let's see, anything else? Dima, you did miss the meditation, but it will be, we'll replay it on YouTube here for a bit too. So I think if that's all, is that all we have? Anybody else, anybody who's already in the mentorship want to say anything else besides Norma? Now I'm putting you on the spot, aren't I? Raven came on camera. Does that mean you want to say something?
Sure, I'll say something about it. I've only done one of the directions, the South, but it has just added so much to my life, and this community has added so much. I wouldn't dream about missing any of it. So I get teary, but thank you. It's meant a lot.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You've meant a lot too, Raven.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing I love about everybody who comes into the mentorship, doesn't matter if you've been here for 3 years or 9 weeks, it's like this family just embraces you and adopts you, and everybody just kind of falls into a comfort level that's really beautiful, where you can be you. You can be you in every form that you show up in. And sometimes we don't show up being all beautiful and wonderful, and sometimes we do, but either way, you're family. Mara?
This is my, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is my 4th direction, and it's just life-changing. It's the best. I'm hooked. So here I am again, and I'm so excited for this direction.
Yeah, I am too. And those of us who just came off the South direction, the West is looking really good right now. The South really turns up a lot of emotions and really takes you through the ringer. And in the West, we kind of get to take all that energy and do something with it now. And so, Mara, just so you know, you're not going to be able to ever leave. I hope you know that. You're stuck with us.
Yes.
Yes. Norma?
One of the things I noticed with Mara is that you have become so much happier.
Yes.
From day 1 to now is like night and day difference.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm a work in progress, but
yeah, we all are.
Getting there.
Yep.
Lori, you're asking another question here, which is a great question. I have this problem too. It's like she's asking, meditations can move faster than I can keep up. Like when we were just doing the meditation, I hadn't quite seen what my ancestor was trying to tell me or show me before the meditation had moved on. God, that happens to me all the time. I can't stand it when I'm meditating to somebody. I'm like, whoa, wait, don't go anywhere yet. I want to. It was just coming, and they're already on something else. So what I've learned and what I tell others is that look at meditation like what we just did. Think of that as the key that opened up the door. And you just spent 34 minutes putting that key into the lock, unlocking it, and opening the door. And now the door is open, and your ancestors and those pieces, the soul recovery, the shadow parts, all that information can now start to be informing your everyday world. So in the South, we talk about soul tracking. We do a whole workshop on soul tracking, and that's being able to read the messages in our ordinary life. So for me, meditation is more of, let me just set the stage. And then it's everything after that is when all that information comes barreling into me, and I'm paying attention to what I notice outside of myself, the sounds that I hear, the smells that I smell, the people that come into contact, the books that I happen to pick up, all those little pieces that kind of bring pieces of that meditation back into the everyday world. Our lives are actually a reflection of what's going on internally. So if you're paying attention to what's external to you, you'll get more information. So in the next couple of days, go with the intention that you want to learn more from the guide that came through to you in today's meditation. And then any little thing that starts to percolate a curiosity within you, like, oh, I noticed that tree is just starting to churn. Just write it down. You don't have to understand it, just write it down. Or you're in the grocery line and somebody says, hey, Fred, and you just happen to catch that name, write it down. And then pretty soon you're going to have this little bit of a storyline, and you're going to be able to put some of those pieces together. I would also encourage anybody who hasn't done some ancestry work to go familysearch.org is a free online ancestry program that you can go and start doing some research of your lineage if you don't want to pay for a subscription. It can be quite pricey if you do ancestry and all those others, but they pull all the records from the Mormon Church and then other places all over the world. And when I'm doing my lineage, when I see a name that just kind of pops out, like I'm looking at my whole big map and I see a name, I'll just go to that profile and I'll start researching that time and just figure out things that kind of feel familiar or curious about. And usually that's your guide coming through and trying to fill in some gaps for you. But your waking time is ripe with ample opportunity to speak and communicate with your guides and your ancestors. Sharon's asking, what kind of things can you place in a west direction altar? I don't know if you guys can see my altar behind me. But so for me, I've got symbols of my ancestors. I've got some pictures of them. I've got a skull that represents the ancestors. This is my grandfather's old watch. And then I also put cauldrons are significant for abundance and protection. I put all kinds of crystals, obviously the orange and the reds and the fall colors, candles. Also a lantern is a really strong symbol for calling in your guides and for calling in your ancestors. I don't want to move mine because I have things leaning up against it, but mine lights up and I have it lit pretty much all the time. And then the animals for the west direction are fire animals. So you've got dragon, phoenix, snake, lion, tiger, all those different things. I actually need to add some more of the animal kingdom on my, I have the animals I like. Fox is actually in the west. I have a fox on there. And for me, the altar is, I add things for each direction, but my altar really is all the time. So I have things on there that are very significant to me. All the feathers that I found when I was traveling last year. One of the students from Australia sent me a really cool saying on a piece of bark. So I've got that on my altar. And I actually have a cloth that Linda sent me from Scotland. Yeah, and it's actually the four directions. And I've got bells. So I think of in senses, so things that you can hear, things you can touch, things that you can smell. I've got copal on there. I've got sage. And then also for the west direction, This is actually a funny story. So my sister fell off her deck, and they life flighted her to a trauma center. And so my brother and I went down there to help her build her deck so she wouldn't have to do it anymore. And she handed me some gas money at the end. And what she handed me was $100. I don't know where she buys gas, but no place that I've ever spent $100 on gas. So she did it because it was part of gratitude. So what I did with her money is I just keep it on my altar as a way for it to represent abundance and gratitude, and also the connection that I have to my family, that we support each other in whatever way that we can. So until I actually need it for gas, I'm just going to leave it there. And I have it in a, she's a potter, so she made me this beautiful vase that has the moon on it. So I keep it in that because that's also fire energy, the pottery. So think of using anything on your altar that kind of represents the animals, the colors, the season, the element of fire, your ancestors, abundance, manifestation, protection, those are the primary things for the West altar. Also, just another thing about altars is sometimes people will build an altar and then they just never tend to it, and they just leave it and it collects dust, and they get a random rock and they'll just put it on there. Anything on your altar needs to be something that really is significant to you. And also every season you should be taking everything off your altar, cleaning, and then putting back on anything that still is significant and represents you. Sometimes we have old things that don't represent us any longer, and they need to be taken off. Okay. Sharon, yes, a wolf would be in the west direction. Any other questions, Sherry?
Elizabeth asked a question. Many times it helps to do the meditation a few times. And just put the name of that one in here. She's on YouTube. So
you're on YouTube today, Elizabeth. Okay. This one is called the Meditation of the Equinox. I got really creative with it. At 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, what am I going to call this now? Also about altars, I think, Raven, I think you asked this question, where to put it in your home. You don't have to put it in a specific direction, but do put it in a place where it's not going to have somebody putting their car keys on it or unopened mail, or it needs to be someplace where it's going to be sacred and that you can tend to it. And I keep mine here because this is the room that I spend the most time in, because I work here and I read. And so it's just conducive. All right, anything else?
Dakota, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
When we were meditating, when it got to a particular area on ancestors, I started to get a pain in my body where I typically don't have pain. What does that signify, or what do I do with that? It lasted, 30 seconds, but it was enough for me to like, whoa.
Yeah. So sometimes your ancestors will come through and show you what they need to have healed. And likely it's an ancestor. Can you share where it hurt?
Yeah, it was in my left knee.
Okay. So it could be that an ancestor, it could be one of two things. Ancestor who had pain in their left knee, and that's something for you to heal or help them heal. It could also mean knees are about flexibility and the ability to go forward. So it could be that your ancestors coming forward and giving you that message, like there's something blocking you from being flexible or blocking you from going forward.
Okay.
And Louise Hay is a great place to go and look what exactly knees mean. But yeah, our ancestors, a lot of times they'll come through and they need physical healing of their soul. So what happens, and this is all, really, do we really know this for true? But if you reincarnate, if you believe in reincarnation, then anything that's left in this life that we haven't dealt with, like let's say that you have this pattern of creating, you attract toxic people into your life constantly. If you die, that trait goes with you into the next life. It'll manifest itself in another way in your next life. And so that's one of the reasons why doing soul growth is so important, is so that we can really clean up our energy going forward, and we're not having to deal with, what are you doing? My cat is coming through here. And cats are actually really, they bring ancestors with them too. So if you have a cat that all of a sudden starts getting all over you during a meditation, pay attention to that. Anyway, you want to clean up. And so sometimes your previous ancestors have things that they weren't able to, and they solicit help from here now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Linda?
Just to say good night to everybody. I need to go, but I'll see you all soon.
Okay. Bye, Linda. Thanks for being here.
Much. Thank you.
Bye. I love doing ancestor work, though. I think it's really powerful work to do. All right. Anybody else? Okay. And so anybody who does sign up for the mentorship between now and midnight Tuesday is going to get today's meditation for free. So does all the mentorship people. So any of you who are thinking about signing up, or those of you who are in the mentorship, don't go buy the meditation, because you're going to get it for free. And let's see, anything else that I need to, is there anything else, Sherry, in YouTube land?
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here and playing in the playground and opening up the West direction. And I am so looking forward to Thursday, to our first class, and for everything that's going to unfold in the next 12 weeks. I think it's going to be a really, really powerful session. I feel it in my bones. It's going to be powerful. And I know that many of you who are on the mentorship have been amping up for it. I get emails when you guys finish up your coursework. So I see all these emails coming in where you're finished with Sacred Heart Warrior and you're getting ready for the West. And so just buckle up. It's going to be a good one. And again, if anybody has any questions going forward, if you're thinking about the mentorship, you want you still have some questions, please just email me, or likely if you are on here, you have gotten an email from me. So just hit reply and ask me anything you want, and I'm happy to answer those questions. We'll probably do another live Q&A on Tuesday, probably Tuesday evening, and that's not written in stone, but it will be somewhere along those lines. And we'll try to do it live, but God, I suck at live meditate, or I suck at live feeds. Today was ridiculous.
So that was your quantum field?
Yeah, I just invented my quantum field. You're exactly right. But if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. I'm just standing there like a doofus. You should have got Sherry and Leanne here to do all that, orchestrate. I was on my own.
It made me smile.
I am human.
We're being authentic.
It's like,
human.
Hey, what's going on? I'm just glad I wasn't doing something really embarrassing, like, I don't know. Who knows? All right. Everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing the space with me. I appreciate that, and for your time on Sunday. And welcome to the West.
Thanks, Dakota.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. See you Thursday.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Now I gotta learn how to end this on YouTube. Okay, YouTube land, bye. I'm gonna hit, I did learn this, stop live stream.